Seeing there's no visitors, we can move on to additional discussion items.
At this, I need before we poll the board if there's anything, at each of the board members' seats in a paper copy is the calendar for the current school year. And highlighted for you are 2 dates. As you're aware, I chose to close campus on Friday. Originally, as soon as I found out about the bad weather, I contacted all the local public works directors. We have a group text with them. I also have a group text with the feeder superintendents, just staying in loop with each other. The public work directors were going to have people working throughout the night. They thought they could handle the snow, but there was a concern about the amount of salt they had available with all the consecutive days of snowfall. So that's why we originally put out the late start, just to give our teachers more time and to get to school and then provide students and parents more time. Throughout the evening, as the forecast became more uncertain, more and more local school districts began to close to a point to where we were one of the last ones to close. And so in conversation with the feeder districts, we decided to close campus. So we need to make up that day. Our first emergency day, denoted by the capital letter E on the calendar in front of you and on the calendar on the screen, would be on May 25th. And that is also the graduation. So that would mean running final exams the morning of graduation, having teachers get final grades in, and that creates a time crunch.
We did it like that for years, though, right?
We have not. In my tenure, the last time we closed was in 2014 or 15 for the wind chill, and we used an Institute Day and we used President's Day or Pulaski Day to make it up so that we didn't have to move graduation. You are correct, though.
For decades, we had class the day of graduation, right?
What's changed, though, in the last few years is the state now requires a 5-hour school day on the last day of school. You can't do... So in the decades that you're referring to, they used to do like one final exam and then the teachers had the whole day for grading and makeup exams and stuff. We have to do a 5-hour day.
What, on the 24th, we can have a 5-hour day?
Yes. So the 24th, the last day of school, we have 2 full exam periods and then a full exam makeup period.
That's only 3 periods, though.
But the periods are longer that day because it's final exams.
Final
Each
exams.
period is an hour and 45 minutes, I believe. Maybe an hour and a half. Off
So
the
we
top
get
of
our
my head.
5 hours. So to stay on point here,
We are on point. I'm just
the April 2nd is a holiday that the district approved after spring break. It's not a holiday per se for federal purposes or acknowledged school holiday. Our contractual agreement with the union requires 15 days off. And so what I'm thinking of doing is it would give plenty of notification to parents to say, hey, we're going to be in school on that Monday. Thus leaving me one extra emergency day in hand as we go through should any more snow days pop, or should we have any flooding or other things where I need to close school, then I still have the 25th, or we can figure out running an alternate final schedule and still pulling off graduation on the 25th. So I just wanted to make the board aware of what I'm considering.
That day is usually known as Easter Monday, yes? That you're considering with the yellow X?
This school district has not had a traditional Easter Monday.
Oh, okay.
This school district is usually given a district holiday to its 12-month employees on Good Friday.
Okay.
So the sense that it fell early and we had to use our 15 days, we chose to use our other district holiday on that Monday.
Okay.
So all that would happen is we would send out notification to parents and students that you're going to make up full day classes on that Monday, and I would allow the 12-month employees to use a floating holiday during spring break.
Well, the problem is, haven't we, in the past, when we got a lot of scrutiny for not closing the school, talked about when we open it up on a day that was a holiday, especially one like that with spring break, that a lot of the teachers don't come in and a lot of students don't come in. We have very poor attendance. Haven't we taken that position in the past?
I think the one position that we've taken some concerns about is that when we didn't close school and we didn't have enough teachers, a lot of students were just not having full instructional periods.
I know that, but we also have said that we've got scrutinized because a couple of years ago, half the students showed up on a couple days, when we didn't close the school. And part of our defense was when we close it and then open it up on what was going to be a holiday, we find that half the students don't come then either, and half the teachers don't come then, right? We took that position the last time we got questions about it. That's my recollection anyway. So I'm questioning why, if we switch to the April 2nd, do we really think we're gonna have a full body of teachers and students? Because I don't know, I realize it's a 5-day, I don't know how much effort it is to get the grades in, but I assume students will show up to take their final exams.
Oh, yeah, I don't think attendance is an issue on that final exam. I'm saving that emergency day, so from now until the end of the year, if I have to close school or something else happens, I don't have to move graduation or make up 2 days.
Yeah, when do you have to declare? Can you declare like after the bad weather is over? Like in March sometime, or?
Well, sure,
Well,
you
yeah.
can declare. My point is trying to give
No, I know.
parents 6 weeks
But that
notice
wouldn't give much
that,
notice.
if I give you 6
To the
weeks notice
parents.
That
that,
I agree with.
hey, what we're gonna use one day is this
Okay.
April 2nd. It's
Right.
not a school, it's not a holiday, it was
I
just a
see.
district holiday to have classes. I understand there may be some people still coming back from spring break and we may have some absences, but I would think, like Tim said, after 5 days off of school, on a Monday, that. So in the 7 years that I've been here, we only closed those 2 days. So I've only been through this one other time, we closed 2 days, and it was either 14 or 15, and that's when we had the Arctic freeze.
Right.
And we were trying to avoid having to move graduation, so we made up President's Day, and we did drop them on actual school holidays.
Right.
Or at least one of them was dropped on an actual school holiday. And then we used an Institute Day, and we had to make up the Institute Day after Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
So that was my thought, because it's not an actual school holiday, it was just something that we had on the calendar. This may work out so that we still have an emergency day in hand should something else happen for the rest of the school year. The 2014, I did have to close early when we had the 100-year flood,
Right.
and we had and we had to close a day that time. And that way I was able to, I think we moved Institute days, because it was already in the springtime where you're
April
getting towards
13th.
crunch time.
So are you asking us to approve your amended calendar? Is that
I am
what-
not bringing the amended calendar. I could bring that at the cow.
Don't we have to approve it as a board?
Yes, I wanted to get some feedback from the board tonight.
Would you want to do it tonight? That way you can get notification out to parents sooner than 2 weeks from now?
Do we know what feeder schools are doing? Are the feeder schools gonna use Monday? Because,
Well, the feeder schools go a little later than us anyways. They go into Memorial Day week.
right, but-
Kamara closed 4 days already, so they have to make up 5 days now. So they're making up President's Day, they're doing some holidays. They've already closed 5 days. So
what
we're all
I'm
gonna
saying
be-
is that if we come to school, sometimes parents rely on the older siblings to help with younger ones. So that Easter Monday, our grade school's off. Just
I can check on that.
because parents are going back to work after vacation and they may be relying on older siblings to take care of younger siblings. Just something to think about.
Well, if you want to do it today, we could do it tentative on you checking with the other, Comerica.
Mayor, what's our process? I don't think the board has to approve the amended calendar until the end of the school year, correct? Once,
Right, I have to send in a correct calendar.
so if I decided to make use the designated day off for a makeup day, do we need action beforehand?
Seems like you would have to.
We amend the calendar, but I don't have to.
I don't know, we got ours. I got my notification yesterday, and she hasn't had a board meeting since Friday.
That doesn't mean she's doing it the right way. If the board has to approve the calendar, how can it be amended without the board approving the amendment? That doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm up for amending it. I think it makes
Yeah.
sense. That way we don't have the kids going into,
I agree.
on the day of their graduation, having to come in, or having to modify the graduation date if we do run into a potential additional day.
I
This
talked to-
does give you flexibility.
Yes, and I talked to Kristen this morning. She says it is very tough to try to have all the students in the building taking final exams and preparing for graduation. And getting work done, so. So maybe if we had
I'm
a
okay with-
general motion that allows me to work with the feeder schools and the union to try to come up with the, to amend the calendar to make up this snow day.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we approve it that that's the day unless you determine that it just is inconsistent with what you're finding out from everybody else? So
Well-
you don't have to change it. if you
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to lock in completely with the feeder schools
You won't.
because I know like Brookfield closes an additional day because they have the election and they're still an election site, so 95 closes. So I mean, there are some days where
Right.
we're an institute and students are home and they're in session or vice versa, so,
Usually we only align the holiday break and the spring break, right?
correct.
That's all we check on.
Well, that's why I'm concerned about Easter Monday. If the family took a trip, they're coming home, mom and dad gotta go to work on Monday.
But what Dr. Sneakus is saying is that one of the districts is gonna be off on the 3rd. And we're in school
On the 3rd.
for election. So, I mean, we already have, we're trying to be as
Right.
most as possible align things, but,
I'm in favor of saying we'll amend it and allowing, I don't understand why we couldn't use a institute day or something like that.
It's gotta be amended. That's
Right.
not a question.
If we use the institute day, the school district is required to make up the institute days, so
So
then
all
you
the
have
teachers would
teachers
have to
coming
come
back
back
at
after
Memorial Day,
Memorial,
after Memorial Day.
which they already have plans.
And we
to
only
be
have
gone.
2 institute days left. One is this Friday, way too short of notice to tell students you gotta be in school on Friday instead of being off. And Monday's
Right.
President's Day.
Right?
And the only other institute day is in April 20th, and that is prom. And so we've had significant attendance issues by running school on the day of prom.
Right.
So we understand we're gonna have we may have some attendance issues on that Monday, but we're thinking that's the most natural day because they're coming off of 5 days, the majority of our families will hopefully be back in town.
And it's a holiday, which a lot of people probably are home for a holiday. Majority probably. I mean, for any-
That weekend, you
For
mean.
Christians, it's a big holiday, so probably are home.
And we traditionally have not had the Monday after Easter off, because usually our spring breaks in March and Easter would fall in April, so it's all a timing issue.
And we also haven't aligned the individual holidays with the feeder districts in the past, right?
Right.
So I don't see why we would want to worry about it so much now.
all right, should we do a resolution on this?
Oh, what do you want it to, what do you want in it? What do you want it, Gary?
I'd say go for that, approve the amended school calendar as Dr. Sneakus has laid out in this board meeting.
And we'll have change the April 2nd
From,
holiday to attendance day.
Attendance Day, yeah.
Maybe it's just something general allows the superintendent to use April 2nd as a school attendance day.
Different way of saying the same.
Right, I mean, just, it's giving me flexibility, should something pop up and can't do it, then we,
Okay. I got you. All right. Resolve the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the proposed amendment to the school 2017-2018 school calendar changing April 2nd to a attendance day as presented,
And discuss.
and discussed during the, what's the date?
February 13th.
February 13th open meeting.
Can we get a second?
Second.
We're gonna go for the vote.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Yes.